Guys, I am going to run through some tests. So I'm going to fire the 9CI, the 900 PSI Tippmann tank once again through my remote line. I'll put a hole through mag through. I will count. I'm going to chrono the first shot, count the balls. I got 19 Canada rye balls in hybrid mag with the Joe mod. Still run the Joe mod. I'm going to count the rounds off, and on the 19th, hopefully I can count that high. I will chrono it again, just for my own curiosity to see what kind of output, what kind of FPS I'm seeing at the end of this tiny little 9CI tank. Then I'm going to switch because a subscriber asked, I think his name was Pip, or at least he goes by the name of Pip, his screen name. I'm going to use the same First Strike 10 CI bottle that tested at 825 PSI. I'm going to screw it in the back of the marker, and I'm going to see if Autofire returns. I even have another First Strike bottle here. This is a 13 CI. This one is approximately 975 PSI. I can test it before I screw it in the back, just to confirm if, again, the Autofire will return. Now, these videos are based on my marker setup. There may be some confusion that these bottles won't work in your M17, and Pip brought up an interesting point in that my videos from a long time ago showed I had a bottle screwed in the back of the marker at 1100 PSI, and I did for quite some time, and then started to experience the same sort of Autofire. Upgrading my sear and my trigger springs seemed to alleviate that problem. Now, it could be an entirely different problem altogether. Without going back in time, I don't know if I can replicate that problem, and I'm not really interested in trying to replicate the problem because I've been searching for a solution to this particular marker for, a couple of weeks now, if you've been following along when this first issue arose. I'm going to give you a quick lowdown on the cycle of this M17. So there are two things that can cause Autofire. Well, there's more than two things. There's a bunch of things, but the main two are this bolt, when it cycles, has to compress the spring far enough that it can send the bolt back to catch the sear, but at the same time it's pressing against incoming charge air. So if the spring didn't compress enough, it will hit the charge air and push the spring back, push the bolt back before it completely resets on the sear, which can cause Autofire. Now, this can be from air starvation, which I believe was my issue running this remote line setup. So it's not getting adequate air to fill the air chamber and compress the spring enough. There is another reason you can get Autofire, and that kind of relates to what Pip was mentioning about running 1100 PSI, and that was no remote line in the rear of the marker, in that the bolt can actually, if you're talking sort of firearms, it can overgas. So 1100 is a lot of pressure to be, it's higher pressure to be sending into one of these in normal circumstances. And the bolt can actually travel too fast, rebounding off your bumpers and missing the sear completely. These markers are all about timing. Well, I mean, especially the M17, because it has a full automatic system, firing system, where the sear slides. That sliding sear action has everything to do with this marker, but it also is kind of its Achilles heel. So Overpressure can cause auto fire, and under pressure can cause auto fire. And if you base it on those two things, you can generally come to a consensus. And here is a quick and dirty explanation how you can tell what your marker is doing. Over the course of all the time that I've spent, beating on this thing and trying all different sorts of bolt springs, tank pressures, and up until now I started to realize that maybe it was more than just tank pressure and more about the regulator flow. In an auto fire state, and put it in the comments, guys, because I know you guys have experienced this. There's at least a few of you out there. Some are more lucky than others. Let's just put it that way. But in an auto fire state, if your marker is under pressured, it won't pick up the next projectile. So, and this is a good thing, because if your marker is under pressure, the bolt fires one round but doesn't pull back far enough to catch the next projectile and then shoot it. Now, picture what happens when it is overgassed. It picks up the ball, shoots, picks up the ball, shoots. So you see what I'm saying here? An under pressured chamber, you're gonna get one shot and then it's gonna go bah! But no extra balls are gonna come out. Your mag is not gonna empty itself. An overpressured chamber is going to pick up every single projectile out of your magazine until the bottle is empty. And I've experienced both of those. And the latter being quite scary in a closed environment like your garage. So being mindful of that, workarounds for overpressure can be bumpers. And this is the reason why there's always there's no real definite amount of bumpers you need. And there's one fellow in particular, Jake, who's running some different material bumpers. And think of the bumper as your shock absorber. So if the bolt is coming back too fast, instead of reducing pressure, you can dumb down sort of like a shock absorber. If you change the material, now the factory bumpers are quite hard and that bolt bounces back hard, but if you have a material that is more conducive to absorbing shock, you could slow that bolt and have it fire appropriately. Now some of you might be saying, well, that doesn't happen with my FSC or my Umarex, and you would be correct, but you have experienced it in some degree that you may not have realized. And that is when your marker in an FSC or a Umarex, when your pressure is, you're getting to the end of your CO2 or even your end of your HPA. You get that farting or the bolt stuttering. That is an under pressure situation. That is your bolt not resetting because there's not enough pressure to compress the spring and reset it. There's another caveat of that, and that is both the Umarex and the FSC have a fixed sear. They have a single pivot point. That sear pivots up or down, and that is it. Whereas the M17 pivots up, down, forward, backwards. Now you understand that forward, backwards, upside down, inside out for the M17 is 100% part of the full auto firing system, and it's required. I have monkeyed with deleting the sliding variation of the sear. It sort of works, but what it's done when I've done this is it makes the trigger pull really hard. Like, it doesn't feel good to me, so my workaround is even longer sear spring, which appears to be working. So, enough talking. Let's empty this mag out, and then we'll get on to the 10 CI in the rear. Just gotta find my safety glasses. There they are. Safety glasses. 9 CI, 900 PSI. Can of rye balls. RE10. Interesting. That I was not expecting to happen. So I put a few mags through here, and I haven't experienced the Autofire yet. So when you're wrong, maybe. But here's what I'm gonna do, actually, because it brings up a very interesting point in relation to the previous blah, 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 blah that I said. Let me screw this in the back of the marker and see if that will continue. Okay guys, obviously this video just went from chronoing shots to back to trying to figure out what this issue is. So I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong. And I may have got excited, and I tend to do that. This bottle did fire off numerous mags before Autofire returned. So I guess I did get my hopes up. So there is some other issue at play here. But for the purposes of testing, my remote line setup, and you can see, I mean, this is unconventional. I'm putting air in through the pressure relief valve. So I've reverted back to inserting the air through the stock. Now I realize this isn't ideal. I have to run an adapter here, a spacer, because my on-off won't tighten down properly with the HCS stock adapter on here. But it's in there. I've removed so without deleting everything off this marker and going from scratch, I removed the ASA plug, remote line plug that I was using in the rear of my marker previously, so it was installed like this, essentially. I've had to remove it, and I've inserted it into my on-off. Now, because this on-off is self-purging, this is the reason I got to run the plug in here, and I have to run this on-off in the on position. Otherwise, if I have it open like this, it's just going to vent once I send air in through here. So let's move on with the testing. So I'm going to start again with a fresh bottle, 9CI. Now, it says 2,500 PSI in here. Like I said before, my pump does pump to 3,000. It's about 17 degrees Celsius in the garage here. I don't know if that affects the gauge that much. I have seen some small increments, but man, that 500 PSI seems a little bit low. But see what she does. Make sure it's off here. Bottle in the rear. Full mag. 9.9s. I'll tell you one thing. It did sound different this time when I aired it up than when I've been airing it up with using this external adapter here. See if she auto fires. that's the same 9CI that just auto fired on here. And this is 900. 302. Now, I will say that FPS is down from the last video. I mean, I've went through this marker already. I didn't find any leaks. Is it the cold temperature maybe just affecting it? I mean, it's gonna be consistent. I'll bet you dollars to donuts, but it's definitely down on FPS. 304. 302. 302. So it is consistent. So that tells you it's probably not a leak. I should probably retest this bottle actually, just to see what it's doing. Okay, I'm gonna empty this mag off. I'm gonna try the first strike bottle that gave me grief before in the rear. Then I'm gonna try another first strike bottle that's 975 PSI and see what it does. And then, so I spoke of the flow rate before, and that was my thought why this bottle was working through the remote line. Now, I mean, flow and pressure do have some varying degrees of, they intertwine with each other. Now, I'm going to increase, I think I'm going to increase the pressure in this bottle even one more. So I'm going to add another stack to this, another washer, bump it up. I'll retest on the video for you guys and see, did this washer, did it break in like I had mentioned before? But no, it really shouldn't affect it because this bottle out of the box, I had already cycled, you know, hundreds of times. So those washers are broken in. So it would auto fired, I think, on those. So I'm trying to give you guys my thought process. You know, this video might seem long and drawn out, but I don't always post all the stuff that I go through, and I think maybe this time it was more important to show that sort of the process behind how I go through this and the failures that do happen. So let's keep firing this thing. You can hear it's getting kind of weak there. It is only a 9CI bottle. Oh yeah. We'll save the FPS for when I get this auto fire 100% licked. But she's empty. You know, the bonus of having a small tank and having, sorry, one full mag just go through and the FPS dying off is that when you do get to the last shot, that free air shot, it's probably not going to damage your bolt because it's lost so much power. Back again. I'm only going to put 5 rounds in the mag this time. The essence of trying to keep the video reasonably short. So this is a 10 CI. Pumped to 3000. 825 PSI output that previously gave me issues. Screwed into my external on-off here. Make sure it's off. And degassed. So I left a little bit of gas in there from the last one because I'm using a different system here. All right, ball's already in the mag. Still a ball drop. That's something, guys, right? That's something. .304. So just a quick note without a bunch of calculations. 825 psi and 900 psi on that other bottle, at least last I tested, had the same FPS output. So something funny going on, right? There has to be. I'll have to confirm the pressure on that. Let's finish the 5 rounds. So no Autofire. Next, 13 CI 975. Once again, just show you, it is pumped to 3,000. We got a 0. So, well, this bottle actually says 1,000 right now. Just a tick over. Let's send it. 1,000 in the rear. Guys, I hope you're as sick as I am. Well, no, I don't. Oh shit, I didn't load the mag. Well, you're gonna have to watch me do that. I'll do it in fast forward. How's that sound? $50 joules pretty much on the button. I'm familiar with that number, 330. That's 50 joules. Just getting that last shot out of there, guys. So, you see the conundrum here, don't you? Air in the rear seems to be less problematic than using a remote line. Now, obviously, for most of you guys out there, you're putting air in the back of this marker just like it was intended. It's not my style. I got a marker for that. Don't get me wrong. But hell, you know what? You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna pump this guy up because it was 1,000 PSI, the 13 CI. I'm going to resend it through the top. I'm also going to confirm the bottle pressure on this guy now. Ah, shit. I cannot do that. Well, yes, I can. I'm gonna pump it up. There's gonna be some fast forwarding in this video, but the essence of staying let's confirm bottle pressure on this is still 900. So that I just pumped to 3,000 according to my compressor, and you can see clearly the gauge lies. It says 26 or 2,700. But all my FS bottles pumped to 3. Gauges say 3, gauge says 3. I think it's the gauge on this bottle. And the reason I pay attention to that stuff is details like that, I mean, they are variables that may affect the outcome, but because I'm using the same compressor, I trust that it's pumping them exactly the same. So, nope, this bottle still tested 900, well, maybe a tick under like I suspected. Now, remember from the last video when I pumped this up, brand new washer, only 1,000 PSI, it said 900 PSI. A fully pumped bottle with the brand new washer said about 925 PSI, and I had stated this washer is gonna settle. It would appear that it has, so it settled just a tick below 900. Something to keep in mind. I don't think that is playing a part in what's going on here. Let testing continue. Okay, 13 CI. I have returned my plug to the rear. I have installed these 13 CI for a strike tank, 1,000 PSI output as previously tested. Let's see what it does. Same Canada hybrid ride balls. Well, you saw that there. It did pick up a few extra rounds. Thankfully they didn't come flying back at me. So, my issue then is this remote line. And what are we going to do? Well, guys, I'm just gonna have to keep testing. I really am. I wish I had well, I thought I had a good answer, apparently. I will change the 9CI. I'll bump the pressure up on that and try it in the top here as well, I think. Before we call this video complete. And I start searching for other options besides putting the bottle in the back. This marker, I am destined to keep it this way. I just need to find what's gonna work. My battery's running low for this session, but I adjusted my pressure in my 9CI bottle. I don't know what it is. I did fill it up. Once again, the gauge lies. This was a 3,000 fill on my Young Hank, so let's test what the output is now. I have inserted another Bellevue washer into my regulator, sorry. And let's test her together. I'm gonna be honest, after all of this that I went through and that you've witnessed, I don't suspect it's gonna do anything different. I think I'm gonna have Autofire, guys. But let's see what this does. Whoa, 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 whoa. And that is what I would call reg creep. 2 Bellevue washers have sent my output pressure to just over 1,200. To do or not to do? Well, this may just work. And I say that because if, in fact, this is a fill rate problem using the remote line. Well, I'll be damned if 1200 PSI doesn't solve it. I think it's gonna tell me there's something else at play and I'm just missing it, guys. And this is where I need everybody's help here. Some of you guys that sit quiet and have experienced this. And there's also a group that calls out the M17 for being a hunk of shit. Well, every marker is a hunk of shit. Let's just put it that way. What you show on video and reality are always two different things. And this video is one of those ones where I ain't gonna sugarcoat it, guys. Shit goes wrong with these things all the time. It's a matter of finding the sweet spot. And every marker, even if you took these markers out of the box, sorry, you might find they perform differently. So be aware of that. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Air it up. Obviously, you could see I decided that I'm going to send 1200 PSI through this. Completely unrecommended. I would not recommend sending any more than 1100. There's a reason why you can only buy kits, or kits are marketed as for paintball to 1100 PSI. These markers are made with mostly aluminum, not steel like a PCP air gun is. Proceed with caution. But I need to know, is sending higher pressure into my malfunctioning marker going to solve my problems? What do you think? I don't think so, but let's try it anyways. And you know where we go from here? Got 5 rounds of counter eyeballs in there. Back to 800 PSI. And I will start all over again. And try and find this issue. I'm gonna chrono this one because I know you guys want to see it. Unfortunately, I have 5 rounds in here and they may come flying back at me in a hurry. So what can I do? You know what? I keep this awkward chair in front of me. I might just move it just in front of me here. And you can see my concern about sending 1200 PSI through here. Holy shit. Exactly what I said. And those things were going, those are headhunting. I don't know. Well, you guys are going to miss it here. It said 360. Now, I've hit way higher than 360 on less PSI. So again, completely unnecessary to be sending 1200 PSI through your marker. And I'm just looking over there to see what kind of damage I got. Thankfully, my motorcycles are covered for the winter and they have a pretty thick cover on them. But those were headhunters. Okay, guys. More testing to come. Bonus footage. Wonderful.